welcome to Newsclick. Today we are going to discuss about the latest resolution that India opposed in United Nations, which batted for same-sex rights. We have with us Dr. Himadri Roy, professor at IGNOU and who has been a worker on LGBT issues. Hello Himadri.
Hi.
We have seen that there was a resolution which was passed in United Nations which gave the spouses of the same-sex couples equal rights in United Nations. They could enjoy the rights which other people enjoyed. But India has voted against it. So it has brought India into the category of those some so-called fundamentalist nations. So, I mean, why did India do so? What do you think could be the possible reason behind it?
See, there are certain factors which run very staunchly in this country. One of this is like taking or accepting away from the crowd. You cannot accept someone who is out of the box. Like same-sex people are considered to be out of the box. So they are not following the majoritarian, whatever the diktats are. So one of the reasons is that whatever the government has decided probably thought about their own majority and confining them to that majority and ideology. They thought that it's ideal to support our country in that framework. Whether it is Hindu rights or whether it is Muslim rights or whether it is whatever the rights are, that's a different issue. But more than important is over here what the government failed to do is to look at them as human beings.
You talk about ideology and you talk about being human beings or human fundamental rights. When we come to India, we have Article 377 that dates back old to the history, and we are moving towards modernization, but still we have those draconian laws which are old age from British period. We look at the judgment of Supreme Court, it calls this same-sex community as a minuscule minority. And if we look at the current government ministers, some of them says it's a psychological disease. They organize a shivir in Goa to cure homosexuals. So what do you think that in this current government situation, would it be possible to remove 377? Will it be possible to bring an amendment in that article so that everybody can enjoy equal rights?
Very interestingly, you have pointed out a very good question. The shibir is not only the concern over here. When we talk about, forget about the LGB, let's take the T only, the transgenders. When we talk about transgenders, we give them rights. April 13, 2014, they got the rights for
being the third gender.
Not only being third gender, they got rights for education as well as health, the most important two issues in this country. But the main economic factor of livelihood has been snatched away. That falls under whatever you have said. It's not article, it's IPC 377. Now under 377, they are also a criminal. That's a big lacuna of the judgment. Now, if you give them education rights, if you give them health rights, that's fine. Till they get education, until they are educatedly and placed into a skilled job, they are earning their livelihoods through unskilled professions. And one of the unskilled profession is prostitution. For transgenders, the prostitution is one of the biggest source of earning and livelihood. Struggling themselves to come to that level is a big thing. Now, government, when you bring such laws like repeal the judgment, what Delhi High Court has done in 2009, you repealed it. So the question mark comes then this judgment that is coming in 2014. How do you mismatch it? It is going beyond both the things. Now, whom do you support? Is the government playing any role in it? Yes, when you say that this government is not taking initiative, but Arun Jaitley very openly on NDTV in one of his interviews with Barkhada told very openly that I do support them. Now, how far he supports in public forum and how far he supports in the parliament is a big issue. Now, there are ministers within the present government, there are ministers who are supporting it. But will they take the voice to the parliament to get the resolution of it? I don't know. We don't know. We sit over here and we can talk about it, academically discuss about it, debate about it. But exactly what's happening in the parliament or what's running in the cabinet, we cannot make a head or tail out of it. But yes, they are trying to dilly-dally the whole position to make themselves safe, because under them there are certain fundamentalist groups also. And these fundamentalist groups try to arrange shibir. One of them very profusely in a public forum says, if you don't have 4 kids, you are not an ideal mother or a woman in this country. So these kind of things are always there.
When we talk about these fundamentalist forces, we have seen them thrashing people in Jhandewalan when this Kiss of Love protest was organized. And you have raised a very important issue about livelihood of transgenders. So when you raise this issue, we also need to notice that begging was one among the way of earning for transgenders. While same has been brought under this entire act of prohibition of beggary. So we saw in Bangalore 30 of people from the transgenders community were booked under this section and they were put into jail. Yeah. So I mean, is there any way forward? I mean, what is government doing to even bring this gender, this third gender which they have recognized into mainstream? Are there any policies? Are there any principles which they are going to follow?
See, there are no policies yet, but what Tamil Nadu government is doing, they can also do the same. School has to be mandatory for everyone, beyond sexes, beyond gender, or everyone should be admitted till the higher education level, what Tamil Nadu government has recently done. I don't know whether it is feasible for the government to look into it, because we say very easily Tamil Nadu has done it. Now let's take an example. Let's take an example of a big place or a big institution or universities. For example, if I take Delhi University, there are plenty of colleges. How many of us do accept a transgender as a classmate? How many of us? There will be hardly hand, but people will put all their like a shocking and shrugging shoulders, like what is happening? They'll be cold towards the whole reactions. Now, one student, I'm talking about it. Now you imagine when this student passes out, they will be working. Think on the other side of the boat. How many faculties, how many principals, or how many employers will employ them? We don't. Yeah. We are against them. Somehow we have a prejudice that they do not belong to us.
They have been continuous talk about them not being into the mainstream. But I mean, who defines the mainstream? What is the mainstream today? I mean, it's a very critical question that we have in front of us, because when we go into the society, we see, I mean, we would bring them when some pious occasion would happen at our place. They will come, they'll sing and they'll dance. But still we don't address them as the mainstream. Still we don't accept them. So I mean, what is the possible way ahead that not only in the political, not only in the educational, not only in the policy-wise matters, these people come into, I mean, I would refrain myself from calling it a mainstream, but I don't have any other option. So, I mean, how do we channelize the social forces in order to, I mean, accept them? What's the way ahead for it?
First way, what I feel is like, we have to change our thoughts. And the best way of changing our thoughts is to change the school-going kids. They are the best ways. Today's generation, comparable to last 20 years generations, if you see 20 years back, the generation was much more rigid, informalized, uninformed, everything. But today, generations are throughout, across the country, are much more active, thanks to the smartphones, thanks to the social media, which help them to know about the world so well. Yes, how do we go about it? The most important agenda is to accept them as human beings. Treat them as human beings. How many of us do think it otherwise also? How many of us do say a rickshaw wala, thank you sir, bhaiya, after paying the money? Or tell a vendor, sabzi vendor, that thanks bhaiya. We never care for it. Whether we are a gentle human being or we are learned, we are educated, uneducated, doesn't matter. We never say them thank you. We don't say these people thank you who comes and works at your home like maids, the drivers, or the vendors who regularly come to your place. We don't say them thank you. Now, coming out of that group or accepting within that group someone who does not belong to you physiologically, forget about psychological, physiologically they do not belong to you. Like man, women, there's no one else. Now a third person comes into that being and says that I am both of you. Now how do you say them just a thank you? Forget about begging. They're forced to beg.
They're forced to, yeah, true.
There is a history behind that. Why are they called chakkas? Why they are called whatever the abusive languages throughout the country they are used. They are behind it. Hijra is a word which is like giving them a respect in the society. Hijra word has come from the Persians. They have brought it. So from where they were came back to again that pedestal of respect. But under the British colonization, what happened is the British destroyed the mindset of the whole people by framing these laws, by keeping them away. We don't have laws under any sections for them. We don't have laws under any sections. When this judgment came in 2014 about the transgenders, it was it was unbelievable as well as shocking, because 3 months back in December 2013, the Supreme Court's the most retrograde response came for the 377. Now, how do they survive? Begging, you are saying. Begging, how much do they earn? There are different clans of transgenders. One of the clans goes for begging. One of the clans goes for badhais, which you are saying for religious occasions, we need them. One of them is that. Everyone is not allowed. Everyone is not allowed. Where do you respect them? We don't. Think of news media. Till now, we have only 2 people who are transgender and open to the news media. We know that. Rose Venkatesh and Padma. Both of them working in Tamil Nadu, the local channels. Right? Now, other facts also we have to see. How many of us work for them, treat them as, like being myself an academician, do I treat them as academician? Do I treat them as human beings? If I do, it's a different issue, because I am working with the LGBT issues. For me, it is fine, but not for the entire society. The entire society always looks down. Okay, इनका मुंह देख लिया तो ऐसा हो गया, मेरा तो दिन आज खराब जाएगी. सीधी सी बात है, क्योंकि इनको छक्का इसीलिए बोला जाता है क्योंकि when they got this title called whatever abusive title called छक्का, it came from the day of Saturday, and that was the day when they were allowed to beg only on Saturdays. तो सुबह उसको अगर सैटरडे में तुम उसका चेहरा देख लिए, तुम्हारा दिन तो खराब होना ही है. ये प्रेजुडिस एक सुपरस्टिशन बन के हमारे रग रग में फैल चुका है. आज कहीं पे भी ले लो, हिजरा को नाच करवाने के लिए तुम बुला लोगे, कोई ओकेजन हुआ उनको बुला लोगे, बट when it comes to give them respect or tell them, okay, you have come, have some water, then we'll see your dance. Have something, then we'll have a dance of yours. No one says that.
As you are talking about, when we go to this entire judgment that Supreme Court gave in 2013, I mean, there's a section which talks about unnatural penetration is criminalized. But Supreme Court also fails to somewhere acknowledge that there is also a section, I mean, a female attracted towards a female, a lesbian section. I mean, they fail to recognize them. So, do we need to say that they don't exist only, they don't have any human rights? I mean, from where is this coming that you don't recognize? Is it a byproduct of our patriarchal mindset that we have?
Patriarchy is in everyone. A mother becomes patriarchal when a son gets married to a girl. The power game begins in the kitchen. That's where the patriarchy is also. We think that women are not patriarchal. I mean, I'm coming from gender school, that's why I'm saying you, I know this trope of it. Now what happens is, in that case, patriarchy is also running. The mother doesn't want to give the right of the kitchen to anyone. She wants to hold that power in her hand. Now a daughter or daughter-in-law from somewhere, a woman from somewhere is entering that domain and trying to take away that right. She is not accepting. Family is the smallest unit of the society. When this thing is happening within the family, how can things change so fast? Even today also the same thing happened. Like a few minutes back when I was having my lunch with the colleagues, one of the colleagues has just said कि मेरी बहू तो ऐसे करती है. I am so tired and sick of my बहू. See the reasons. They are educated, they are learned, they are everything. Now coming to the same sex people, whether it is gay or lesbians, they said, okay, it's fine. I'm open to my whole colleague on the whole university. The whole university knows about me. But most important than knowing about me is that, okay, Himadri है तो कोई बात नहीं, मेरा बेटा तो नहीं है. भाई मेरा बेटा नहीं है. अगर उसका बेटे भी, उनके बेटे भी जाके उनको कह दे कि मम्मी मुझे लड़के पसंद है, बस तब तो सत्यानाश. तुरंत अपोलो जाएंगे, तुरंत बड़े बड़े हॉस्पिटल्स जाएंगे जहाँ पे उनको ट्रीटमेंट करवा के वो ठीक कर सकते हैं। इसी सोच को बढ़ावा देते हुए जो प्रेजेंट शिविर की बात कर रहे हो वो शिविर ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया। इसी प्रेजेंट सोच के बारे में सोचते हुए रामदेव, महाराज रामदेव और बाबा रामदेव हैज टोल्ड दैट इट कैन बी क्योर्ड through his Ayurveda or yoga. See, it's not possible. People are born with sexuality. It frames according to socio-cultural context. आज एक जगह पे तुम हो, वहाँ पे कुछ नहीं होता. You get attracted towards female, you're fine, you're normal. If you are thrown into a prison, you are in a prison for say 20 years. What is happening inside the prison? Don't the authorities over there know? They also know. Recently, 7 days back, a person in one of the Tihar jail cells committed suicide because he was sodomized every night by the inmates. He could not take it. So he killed himself. Similarly, in boarding schools you go. Similarly, in engineering institutions you go, management institutions, where it is male dominated. The superiority and the inferiority complexes is always running this side. यहाँ पे हमेशा पावर गेम की बातें होती है। 3 Idiots में दिखाया था ना कि हमारा हक है तुम्हें रैगिंग करने की, तुम्हें रैग करेंगे, तुम ये करो। तो this is where the fact lies. You cannot change that, but it will take time. Films like Dostana, I personally didn't like the film. Personally talking about from my aspect, the film technically is a horrible film. The script is pathetic. Everything is pathetic. But one good thing about the film is it comes from a big banner. So, वो जो word gay है, वो पूरा normal हो चुका है. अब सभी जानते हैं. Even rickshaw वाला today, auto वाला also know. अच्छा ये दोनों gay हैं. They still can't figure out. लड़की में भी ऐसे होते हैं. Lesbians can also occur. They can't even figure out that lesbians happen. But very interestingly, one of my research papers, which I have done a research on, I'm still working on it, I found that most of the straight people, which we call heteronormative people, they watch lesbian pornos more than anyone else. Think of manga comics of Japan. उसका रीडर जो है, उसका रीडर का परसेंटेज 72% फीमेल्स है, स्ट्रेट फीमेल्स, हेटेरोनॉर्मेटिव फीमेल्स. मगर मंगा कॉमिक्स है गे कॉमिक्स. दे लव इट रीडिंग. सिमिलरली इन आवर कंट्री ऑल्सो इट्स द सेम थिंग. लेस्बियन पोर्नोस देखने में सारे उस्ताद हैं, लेकिन 2 लेस्बियंस को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे वो. हाँ, एज अ फ्रेंड ओके फाइन, अच्छी है, ये है, वो है. एज अ फ्रेंड एवरीथिंग इज फाइन. If your sister turns out to be a lesbian, then you're gone.
We have recently seen government has banned a film called Unfreedom, and so I mean, it would be my last question. What role does art, culture, the films have in promoting or taking this entire stream to people and make them accept this entire LGBT community as if it's part of the society? It's not something which is different, or it's completely normal to be LGBT. It's not abnormal or unnatural.
Chalo, Unfreedom, when you're talking about Unfreedom, let me say you frankly, the film does not have anything to do with Hindu Muslims, which they are quoting to be. Yes, one of the protagonists is Muslim. She falls in love with a Brahmin Hindu. So that's the whole crux of the film. कि मुस्लिम बर्बाद कर रहे हिंदू को. So that is why it will raise communal violence. उनको तो चाहिए ये सब बहाने, उनको हजारों words निकाल दिए, ये words इस्तेमाल नहीं होना चाहिए. Now what happens is, the films which have just been censored and released, I don't know how many of you or the viewers have watched film called Black Home. जिसमें explicit sexual scenes है between men to men, between women and several men, between men, women, and like the bisexuals. They are also having sex. It's like that kind of sexual exploitation in juvenile homes. वो उसके ऊपर फिल्म था. मगर I don't know how did the film get censored, and it got released without an A even. मगर वो चीज़ निकाल दो फिल्म में कुछ बचेगा ही नहीं. Similarly, I am expecting Bombay Velvet now. Let's see Bombay Velvet में, as far as when I have interviewed Karan Johar, I have heard him talking about there are explicit sins, Himadri. Now, when we see the movie, how far it has been, those scenes have been chopped off, let's see. We can't say anything beyond that. Censor Board has been totally, as my previous comment was, is also becoming fundamentals. They have built up themselves into certain rules. They have thrown out people, the previous people, who were little liberated. They think that liberty is curtailing your thoughts and traditions. You are against your culture. You're not supposed to wear what you are wearing. You are not supposed to do what you are doing. चाउमीन खाने से अगर रेप हो सकता है तो इस देश में कुछ भी हो सकता है.
And that's all the time we have for today, Himadri, and we'll be coming back to you on such issues.